Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And we're going to start off on the computer today. You can see off rip, we have this immaculate looking kind of crazy F1 suspension looking thing here. So, this is the Mercedes-AMG Project 1 suspension setup. So, I was actually doing a couple of research and spoke to a couple of people, and this is actually called like a J damper or something like that. So honestly, I think this is really cool. So why are we looking at this? So you guys know, and some of you who don't know, for the 944, there are no coilovers in the rear. There is a torsion bar setup, and I actually just have yellow speed struts. So basically, there is no height adjustment in the rear, let alone really like dampening or anything kind of setup. So today, today, I don't know why I make things hard on myself. I could just make myself a simple cantilever setup, but you know what? This one caught my eye, and we're going to do something like this. So today, we are going to be putting together a little model and a little kind of animation kind of thing just to show you guys how this suspension works. If you guys don't, if you guys want to see more information on this, you guys can also look this up, AMG Project 1. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, I honestly don't know why I like to put myself through so much stress, but look at this thing. This thing is just amazing. I have like kind of like a bunch of like collages and whatnot of how we're gonna put this together, and like this thing just looks amazing. So you can see it's kind of like angled forward, I guess, so the rear wheels are farther back. So that's what we're gonna have to do with mine's, since the 944 has like a trailing arm setup. So we're gonna need to tilt it back. So I don't actually want it directly over the front wheels. I mean over the rear wheels, I'm sorry, because then that's going to cause problems with the trunk, and then the gas tank is there and everything else. So just look at this thing. Like, jeez, look at this thing. So back to this picture over here, you can see it's actually in the front and in the rear. This car has its setup, it's just an amazing setup, honestly. And you can see this is my, trying to get me back to normalization here, but you know what? When you see something like this, you just can't go back. So this is an amazing setup, basically. So this top strut right here acts as a compression strut. So when you hit a bump, this wheel goes up, which turns this arm, squeezes here, vice versa on the other side. If you was to hit a bump, or if you hit a bump both times, both sides, this is your compression. So now this is like your tension kind of spring. So now if you was to hit a bump, this will actually compress and pull this spring here, and then compress this spring, and also do a little movement up here too. But it's kind of hard to explain, honestly. It's better to show you in an animation if you guys want better information. I'm pretty sure somebody else on YouTube explained this better than me. But yeah, this setup basically controls everything. Your pitch, yaw, roll motion. There's no need for a roll bar anymore, because this setup does it all. It's very, very, very amazing. So I'm more of a kind of like a visual kind of guy, so we're gonna actually make a full-on 3D model to show you guys and further explain what's going on here. Alright guys, and here we are back into Rhinoceros 5, and you can see we have this entire thing modeled. Like this, I think this took me about 2 days, I believe. 2 days to do something like this. This is actually pretty cool, and just designing it myself is just, it gives me a better understanding on how all this stuff works together. So like I said at the top, this is your compression spring, and then your tension works in here, and it's just all together. Yeah, so this is like the 3D model basically. Yeah, honestly, I wish there was more things to say. So we're gonna bring this to life, honestly, because I think it'll be a lot easier to explain and to see everything. So I actually scaled this model down to a third of the size. And we're going to be 3D printing all of this, basically, except for the springs. The springs I actually found on Amazon. We find these specific springs, try and find like the biggest springs we can, but so yeah, this thing is completely designed all the way down to the spring seats and just everything. This thing took me like 2 long days of just designing. So boom, and out of the computer we are, and here we are to my desk. So to make this 3D model, we are going to have a bunch of bearings. We're going to use a bunch of bearings here, and we're going to use this spring. Now I know what you're thinking, this isn't a compression spring like this. We would need a more like a spring like this. So if you guys don't know, this is a tension spring or extension spring, or whatever you would like to call it. And basically we can turn this into this simply by stretching it completely out. So this right here in my hand is a 7/8 spring. That's what it says right here in the diameter. In the length here, I believe it's like a 7/8 tension spring. If we was to stretch this out about 1.5 inches farther than what it can actually go for, it actually turns into something like this. So this is a 16-inch spring. So we're gonna have to stretch this out about 32 inches or even more. Depends on the spring back or the yield of this spring, to actually get it to do something like this.
this is the final model. And honestly, I think it's nice. It's very nice demonstration this thing can give. So let's just go ahead and try to explain to you guys this little, well, major thing here. So this suspension setup is, I believe, called like a J damper or whatever. So it's very, very, very interesting. So basically it's gonna be like this, right? Your car is loaded up. You see the spring pressure loaded up, right? So now if your car hits a bump, boom, you see the top spring compressing a lot, way more than the bottom spring, right? Basically this handles all of your bump, so that's pretty cool. Boom, let's say you jump the car, right? Now obviously this spring would not be loose like this. These two springs actually counteract each other. When this is being pulled, this spring is actually being pulled up against the base of this cup right here to stop this movement right here. It's just not gonna do it on mine because obviously, you know, yeah. If I could redo this model again, I'm definitely going to use like a less stiffer spring, or maybe I can stretch these out and make them weaker, but we'll see. So back to being loaded up, right? Let's say you're going around a right corner. So this side of your suspension is being loaded up. So you can see with this movement, this cup actually wants to move. You see the cup moving right here? So whenever the left side of the vehicle hits a bump and the right side is stable, you can see the movement in this cup right here. So basically, when this goes up, this cup puts pressure on this spring that's on the inside. Now these are two separate springs. You can see I can squeeze this one and then this one's not moving. They are two separate springs, basically just divided by a cup. So when this one goes up and this one is firm, this one acts as a compression and actually squeezes. Damn, I keep bumping the camera. This one actually compresses the strut in there to stop this motion, along with this bump action, right? This bump strut right here. So you can see, it moves. That's just how it is. If it wasn't so stiff, I'd be able to see it better. Now, vice versa on the other side, this one's a lot easier to see because you can see if the passenger side of the car hits a bump and the driver's side is still, you can see it's still acting as a bump action up here, but this spring is now being pushed here against this top side of the cup. So you can see the top spring right here being compressed like that. Just like that, if you see that. So that's how that works. This spring really, I mean, this strut setup honestly moves with everything. And then this parallel spring really acts as like your sway bar, dampener kind of thing. And all of this can be tuned individually, obviously, if you have, you know, adjustment knobs to adjust the fluid passing through the valves inside the strut here. So all this is completely adjustable, and you can see once it's loaded up, that's it. It's perfect. So honestly, I like this model. It is a great tool. This thing has given me a better understanding on how this thing works. I think it's really, really, really cool. If I could do it again, I would choose less stiffer springs, preferably in these two areas right here. But other than that, yeah, this is it. This is the model. It's actually fairly simple to make. If you guys have a 3D printer too, you know, you guys can make this file. I can send you guys the file and you guys can explore it yourself. Honestly, this is a really, really, really cool and futuristic suspension setup. And we might be seeing this on cars, you know, later on down the line. This might be something standard, really. I mean, honestly, look at this thing. This thing is so freaking cool. So cool. So yeah, that's really about it for this video, guys.
If we could head on over to Unsystematic.co, get all your Unsystematic needs situated, like this amazing Unsystematic hoodie. Available now, all the different sizes, whatever, you know, whatever size you are.
So, that's it. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Never forget, never stop modifying.